some money. All right, let's do this. Welcome new and returning students. We're moving along. We are almost done with the first quarter of the year, if you can believe that. Crazy how fast it goes by. All right, let's look at this calendar. We're coming down the stretch, man. Next class, we're going to be past the 2-week shift. And what we'll need to do is start looking forward. Grab a pen here. All right, so you know the drill. All right, we're done. We're done. We're sitting right here. This is behind us. Behind us. We're sitting right here now, 13th. All right, so what can you do? If you're brand new, you need to look into quarter 2, right? The next quarter. And add this time onto your next quarter, so you'll have 90 days, another 14, so maybe 100 days or so, 104 days to get things rolling. So just add this
religious text. Usually it has to do with the relationship.
That makes sense. Okay, if you've been with me a while and you're struggling, I'm going to talk about that tonight, how to get things rolling. I've been alluding to that last couple of times. Remember, these are segments, 1, 2, 3, and that's where quarter 1-3 comes in. So first quarter's over, man. I mean, if you haven't done anything now, you're a little late to the party. You need to get started by encompassing what's left of this month into quarter 2, segment 1. All right, simple enough, but no one's doing it. Okay. If you're brand new, you need to get this audiobook. Do not buy the paper book. The 12-week year, get more done in 12 weeks, another due in 12 months. It basically just gives you a structure, how to map things out. You know, it's based on salesman type stuff, which I'm not a fan of that, but the ideas are the same, the concepts. If you work very aggressively, like you only have 12 weeks to get stuff done and treat it, you know, the concept is like towards the end of the year, everybody gets excited, right? And then remember Quit Day, just a couple months ago, talked about that. There's a day in January every year where most people that made New Year's resolutions and promised they were going to go to the gym or whatever bullshit they said to themselves, they quit. And, you know, I told you the same thing. I've been noticing for years. I've been going to the gym pretty much my whole life since I was, I don't know, 17, 18 years old. Started lifting weights when I was 13. And that's when Muscle and Fitness magazine was a big deal. And Arnold and Lou Ferrigno were on the cover. I'm dating myself. But anyway, those guys were inspiration to me. I mean, I never wanted to be that big, but I wanted to be in shape and take care of myself. So anyway, that's how I ended up with the gym stories. I go to the gym. I actually work out at home for the first couple of weeks of January, and that shit dies off on Quit Day. And you can get a spot right in the front anytime you want, no problem. So I want you to get this book and map out your life. You brand new guys, get this book, man. And start doing what you need to do. All right, so some people ask me, what's the secret? What's so special about you? Nothing really. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you the secret to success. It's 3 bullets from Tony Robbins. It works on anything you want to do, but I'd like you to use it in the business. You ready? You ain't going to like it. Powerful words can lead to success. Tony Robbins. Identify your problems, but give your power and energy to solutions. Okay, we'll talk about how that fits into trading. Your past does not equal your future. Whatever happened to you last month, last week, you got stopped out, you burned an account, that doesn't mean that's how it's going to be. I absolutely burned accounts. It just happens. It's part of the business until you learn.
Many times you see one person that breaks away from it.
The path to success is to take massive determined action. What does that mean? It means don't half-ass your chart markups. Don't kind of do it like for me. Do it for yourself. That's one of the problems, that people send me homework and it's not that great, but just to say they did it, they're not really putting the energy into it. They're not paying attention to what's going on with it. And listen, I'm no different than anybody else. I started out like that. I used to be annoyed, like, I send this friggin' guy homework. What the hell's the matter with him marking up charts? But I started to realize, when I started to see some success and started recognizing the patterns and the behaviors in the business, started realizing, like, okay, maybe this guy's not crazy. You know, I've been around a long time, man. I'm not crazy. In fact, I'm probably the sanest one of all these Nice gentleman. I had another word for it, but I'll just leave it at that. All right, so look, take these points and apply them to the 4 pillars of your life, right? Talk about this all the time. What's the 4 pillars? It's your body, diet, how you take care of yourself, your relationships, people around you. It's important stuff, man. Your motivation, self-help. You know, I've been doing this stuff for years, man. I'm going to really date myself. I listened to my first Tony Robbins seminar on a cassette tape. And if those of you young guys don't even know what that shit looks like, or what it is. Okay, the only thing that would have predated that was 8 tracks, and I don't think Tony Robbins was around when 8 tracks came out. They used to have a thing called a single, which was a 1 song on a cassette or one Tony Robbins episode, and it was like 1 single. I think he called them Power Talks. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about,
right? And
yes, I'm old. Okay, so look, this stuff I can guide you on this, but this is on you, man. This is your stuff. How do you keep yourself motivated? I want to talk about this stuff as it applies to business. That's the most important part. You understand? So let's figure out how to apply this to your business and get you rolling. What's massive action look like? Right? If you've been procrastinating since January or last January, it doesn't matter. Let's wipe the slate clean and get you moving forward. I've been showing you cycles for the last couple of weeks, trying to get you to get a deeper understanding of what the business looks like. Right? So what I need you to do from here is finally lay out some rules to making entries, to managing trades, to doing checkdowns. Stop and actually do the drills. Man, the high-low drill is probably the best drill I ever did. And I did it with a chart, man. I did it with math. And you talk about some hard shit, I'm not even halfway kidding. You guys have the luxury of a chart. All you got to do is try to get a candlestick pattern and try to nail it within a couple of ticks. And if you're wrong, you go again. But what that does, the value that brings to you sitting in front of those charts and getting ideas of where the high might come in, right? Remember, you take the Asian high and low, you had plus 25 to the high, right? Plus 25 to 50 depending on the pair, and you try to find the zone where it might start getting, then you start taking entries at that level. Right? For those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, you take, to do the high-low drill the right way, take the Asian range, right? Top set at AR, and if you're trading a mild pair, like maybe, let's just say Euro, then you go plus 25 from whatever number this is. Right? And the top side would be plus 50. We know the stop hunts come in 25 to 50 pips. So you take this number, $1.16, right? 05, and you add 50 to it. So $1.16.55, and you add 25 to it, $1.16.30, right? Okay, that's your zone. Now when price gets in the zone, you try to look at how the impulse waves were. All right, you're looking for 3 impulse waves, and then you start trying to deal from here, finding that last high swing before price fades. That's how you do the high-low drill, right? And if price breaks to the bottom, it's the same thing. Subtract these numbers from the low Asian range. And that gives you an idea where you should deal from. And then maybe your goal is, like when I first started doing it, I had unlimited orders. It's almost like a gun, right? Carr talks about this all the time. You got a 6-shooter, you got X number of shots. You got 6 shots to get it right. Okay, well, you start with 6 shots until you get that turn. When you get that turn bar, you nailed it. And the goal is, over time, doing the drill, is to get you down to maybe 2 or 3 orders, right? And then when you start getting there, then you start adding things like pattern, and you're going to start nailing this because there's a particular set of behaviors that these guys do at the highs and lows and how they consolidate. And you're going to see when they pull off the high and leave an outside bar, then you're looking for a retest into the levels. That's when you're going to learn to deal. And that comes from the drills. Now, I've been around you a long time, man. I've been doing this for 25 years, I guess, 1999, and it's 2004, but it's really 24 and some change. 25-year hits later in the year, like October, November. That's when I started. So do the drills. Do the high-low drill. Do stuff that makes you connected to the business and connected to price action. That's really all it is. It's being connected to what's going on. And just do a couple of pairs. Don't go crazy. Decent pairs with good spreads. You know, I always tell you the top four majors. Trade those pairs because the spreads are reasonable. You know, if you like other instruments, but the spreads are crappy, you're wasting your time with that. You're always going to get slipped. You're always going to get hurt. I know a lot of guys trade that stuff. They just like the instrument because it moves, but at the same time, when you start dealing in size, you're not going to get filled. Absolutely going to get that little bubble that pops up, order not filled, price out of range, or some shit like that. That's what they do. All right, so stop and do the drills. Take the sight test. I talked about the sight test. I actually got pictures of what you should do. Drill on flashcards, perfecting your entry, right? Remember how to do a flashcard? A lot of you don't. You take a picture of the chart, right? Let's say we're looking for this thing. You take a picture of the chart, what it looks like right before you get your execution. So right before price makes the pullback, if you're trading flips, right, you should have your zone marked up. You should have price coming in right before you get that turn bar. And if you're trading that micro M structure, then you need to stop the chart, flashcard right here. And then what you do is you look at these things and you see what the bars and the prints look like right before they hit. And you just drill that in your head, man. You just keep looking at the cards. If you're a GBP trader, then you need 50 setups like this, flashcards. And you want every iteration of what's possible with the way they manipulate this and the way they manipulate this. Right? You don't need these shift bars. You need to understand, okay, the high is formed, outside bar, right? A 12 trade, a 22 trade, whatever that is, right? Coming out of a 333 into a 12 setup, right? That means you get an outside high leg, then you get another 2 swipes at it. Then you get that shift, you're coming back to the apex. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. And there's no way I could give you that. It has to be done manually yourself over and over again. I mean, I could draw it all day, but it's not going to sink in until you physically do it yourself. And then last, I've been talking about this. I'm really surprised that only a handful of people, I guess, what's the right word, partook in this or bid on it. This is a legit thing, man. We are all a product of our environment. Listen, I grew up shitty, man. My father was hardcore, man. I'm an older guy. My father grew up in the era, he was born in like the 30s. He grew up in the era where husbands worked and came home, beat the shit out of the kids, and the wife did everything. I mean, that's pretty much the era I grew up in. If you're close to my age or anywhere near that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know? He was a good guy, but I just think it's different now, you know? Like, I'm active in my son and daughter's life, and you know, and part of that is I credit to him because I didn't want to be raised. I don't want to raise my kids the way I was raised. That makes any sense. You know, I talk about my wife to my wife about this all the time. I was afraid of my parents, afraid of them. Wouldn't talk about nothing. If I did something wrong, I try to hide it. And it's kind of weird to live like that, you know. So that stuff is deep seated in you. You know, my parents always bitched about money, always talked about money, and I didn't want to live like that. But if you're struggling in this department, go watch my buddy and make a headband tape. If you need help with it, I'll help you. I'll help you construct it. It's basically mantras that you play to yourself to get through your conscious barriers and readjust your subconscious. And you know, some people already told me that have done it. They just say, like, it's just really weird to start doing shit. That's the only way I can describe it. You know, I have a whole story about when I went to get hypnotized. I tried it. I hated it. I literally walked out in second or third session in, and just wasn't good for me. I just couldn't. You know, there's some arrogant things I would say would really happen, but it's not right saying it. I just felt it just wasn't working for me. Let's leave it at that. All right, so let's figure out a plan. Okay, get out a piece of paper and a pencil, start taking some notes, and let's get a plan right now. This is what you need to do. Okay, first thing, I want you to take a test to find your spot in this business. Okay, go to this page and take the Briggs-Myers test, or find a Briggs-Myers test. You know, if you notice, there's on the top margin right here, let me circle it for you. There's personality test for business. That's the one you want to take. If you want to just go to the personality library, you're going to have to lay out a few bucks to do this, man. But they've given out 1 million tests in the last 30 days. That's a lot. So do this test. You don't have to share the results with me. I don't want it. But what you want to do is find out your strengths and your weaknesses and where you fall into this business. Okay? Then once you take this test and have a general idea, then I want you to go take this test. This test is actually geared towards trading. Right? So you're going to find out discretionary, mechanical, or hybrid trader. Hybrid is just a combination of different styles. Mechanical, very rule-based type person. Right? Discretionary, you make more decisions. I think the goal is for everybody to eventually become discretionary. You know, because you'll be able to look at certain formations and know, you know what, I've seen that 100 times, that one fails. Or price is above the swing, there's a chance if that doesn't close on a pin and the body gets below. That's the kind of filtering you have to do. Mechanical is C and M, trade an M, right? Anything that looks like an M. And I showed you how that shit doesn't work. I showed you a mid-level consolidation looked like a W all day and they got smoked. So that's the difference between mechanical, discretionary, is that you have to make some decisions based on higher time frames or some other things that are shown on the chart. Okay, so take these quizzes. Okay, now you got the results. Now what do? You're going to build a solid plan around the information. Are you a swing trader or a day trader? If you're a day trader with swing tendencies, what are you going to do? Right? Like let's say you want to be at a prop firm and prop firm doesn't really allow swing trading. Some of them do. You either got to find one that fits.
Top total is 511 in
or
CM.
You got to swing within the day. So how do you do that? Swing trader, find a platform prop firm that allows the stop. If you can't, hold trades for 12 to 24 hours and close out 15 minutes before the bell. So obviously 24 hours is not exactly correct. It's going to be like maybe 20 hours or so. Because there's a couple hour gap in between here when you got to be flat at 4 o'clock and they don't start back till 7. So let's say you get something that looks good in Asia and you feel like you got the level count right. Okay, so let's say, right, you have 3 sessions, right? You're on this side of the line, you find something in Asia that's forming really well, and you know it's going to go good, and it keeps going. So remember, typically, you would get something good, you're looking to exit on push 2. Well, first of all, you're going to get a big pullback from here, and the way these guys work, most of the time, one of the sessions is consolidation, right? You'll get 2 impulse sessions and 1 reversal session, or consolidation. So you might get a push out of Asia, consolidation during London, and a push out of the US session, right? And then a reversal at the end of the day. That's typical stuff, right? So this would be session 1, session 2, session 3. So you're looking to exit somewhere in ADR. So that is a swing trade technically. It's just an intraday, right? No, intraday is multiple, it's intraday. Intraday is 1 day. So it's within the confines of the prop firm. I think the way the prop firm works is you have to open your trade at whatever time and you have to be out before the bell, 4 o'clock. So that's how you can still be a swing trader. Maybe use a 1 hour chart or a 30-minute chart and try to get an execution sometime 8, 9 o'clock when Asia opens, 8:30, right? Start looking for setups. And if the ADR is met, and ADR is 100, 125 ticks, you're probably going to get a reversal if it hits another blue tracer. Like all the stuff we've been talking about, start tying it together. Okay, so now that you know what you are, okay, day trader, target a fixed number every day, 25, 30, 50, whatever works for you. A fixed number though. This is the problem. I talk to some people, they get a trade, and they take 25, 30 off, and they're not happy because it goes for 50. They go, oh, I should have took that, should have took that. But then you know what happened? One goes for 25 or 30, and they get stopped out, and they didn't take the 25 or 30 because they wanted 50. You have to control that. That's an emotional thing. It's an emotion because you're not profitable, and you don't understand what you're doing yet. When you reach the number, whatever it is, I don't care what number you pick up here, man. It could be some other version. This is just numbers that I like. If you're going for 35, 40, I don't give a shit. Just pick a number and stick to that number no matter what. You understand? If you're going for 40 pips, then damn it, you take 40 pips off every time, and that's it. But the thing is that these numbers have to be based on something, not just some numbers you made up randomly because you like the number 25. You have to know if you're trading a futures contract, that typical impulse in 6E, which is Euro, is about 25 pips. So unless you got a really damn good entry, maybe you're only going to squeeze 20 out of it. If you're trading GBP, it's about 33 ticks, 33 pips, right? So you go for 30 because you shave off spread on front and back side, and you should be able to carve that piece out. It makes sense? Okay. Understanding what trade degradation is.
And it
Trade
turns out
degradation
there are
is
signature
degrading when
trades that are
conditions
very
become
basic.
less favorable for trade opportunity. You would be better served to look for a new opportunity at the start of the next session. So maybe you look for one trade London, one trade New York, or use an instrument that has some lag built into it by finding it. Correlated lag, right? What do I mean by correlated lag? We know they hold the crosses, right? We know they hold a pair to work the crosses. So maybe they hold GBP, and in this session they start get Euro going. Okay, well, these pairs usually follow suit because their notational is USD. So what'll happen is this will come later. This might hold for GBP, Euro GBP to work. This will move, Euro GBP will move, and then they'll tank GBP and catch up to Euro. Right? That's a lagging correlated instrument. Right? In time. Does it always work like that? No, there's a leader. Remember, they sometimes use commodities pairs to send the signal for US. Okay, that's how they do that. They'll lead the way with Euro. Euro's leading the way. Okay, so you can expect other majors, not dollar, other majors to be strong, dollar pairs to be weak. So USD / JPY will go up or down. Do you know? If Euro GBP go up, USD JPY goes where? Because it's the quote and notional are flipped. You should know this stuff. If you don't, send it to me. Okay. So when your numbers reach stand down, the reason why is because of trade degradation. The later it gets in the session, right? I always talk about this, but it's important. Okay? Here's the start. Here's the shadow box. Here's the start of London. Okay? That's the start of London. What happens on a timeline
Hey guys, how you
is that the
doing?
conditions that are showing themselves start to degrade as you head towards the US session. Right? This is theory, but it's very close to being true. I mean, I know some trades start earlier from Asia and they tank earlier, but the conditions from here to here, and it just happens to be like the trade's going short, but the conditions from here to here degrade as time goes on. That's why I always say, look for your session, your best trade in the first few hours after the shadow in London. And then you should be on your way into a directional, and then you'll probably end up in consolidation and maybe get the New York reversals. Right? So you're better served working the first 4 hours of this session, working about 4 hours into New York if you're looking for multiple trades in a day. You're better served that way. Instead of chasing stuff late into the session. Okay, you need a complete plan. Complete plan, not some half-assed thing just to send me because it's not for me. Okay, if you spend 8 hours in the office or your job, right? You go to an office and a job, what do? Do you wander around aimlessly? No. Your job has a plan for you. You clock in. Maybe they let you go to the break room at 10. They serve you lunch at 12. How do you fill the time in between there? Right? You sit at your desk. You take inbound calls. You make sales calls. Maybe if you're in the construction business, you have to get the first part of the job done. You meet with the architect. There's things that are going on in your work. Right? If you work retail, maybe you'll stock the shelves for the first part of the day. Then you'll man a register. Right? They have a purpose for you. You're handling customers, you're doing business, you're creating commerce for them. But when you come to the office, you sit there and you play on your phone, you watch TV, and you don't really do any work. That's one of the biggest problems. Is you just sit there and look for M's and W's, and when you can't find them, or when you take false ones, you curse me out. So what I'm asking you to do, I'm begging you to do, is to make a plan for yourself, how you spend the time in the office, what you show up.
All right, I'm back.
When you show up, what do you do?
Get this out of the way.
So this is kind of what my routine has been. I've been doing it for a long time, man. So,
Right,
and
I
it's
was
just
just
where I do
practicing.
business. Okay? I
Favorite character
boot
trait. I like to
all
look
the
at the
computers
pages.
down from the weekend. I boot it or I reboot whatever I got going. I load a fresh Ninja Trader, bring it up fresh, clean, make sure the contracts haven't needed to roll over. You have a calendar reminder for that. But if you have to roll the contracts over to the next forward month, that's what you do. Relaunch Bookmap, right? Because the charts build up all that data, and it's better, almost like cleaning the cache in your computer. Okay, make the temperature comfortable. I have a separate AC in here because the computers, there's 10 monitors running, TV running. It gets hot in here. So I have a separate air conditioning unit just for this room, and I make it comfortable in here. When I leave, I crank it and make it cold, keep the computers running. Okay, organize my desk, erase my whiteboard for crap I wrote on there yesterday. Most of the time I write ideas for what my class is going to be like, and I'll put directional biases on there, things that I'm thinking. Just write it on there. I make sure I got what I need off there. Sometimes I'll take a picture of it and then just erase it. If it's stuff I don't want to forget about. Then once all my equipment's running, settled in, I'll form a directional bias for the session or the day. What am I looking for it to do here in London? And then I'll look for the news. That's it. That's my first initial thing I do when I come to the office. Okay, take a little break. I try to go to the gym, decide if I'm going to go work out across the hall or if I'm going to go to the actual gym. You know, sometimes I like to get out and, you know, be around other people that are working out. Sometimes I just want to walk and get some air. You know, I live in Florida, man. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's too damp out, you can't breathe. So just depending on what it's like out there, man. When I'm done with that, I'll grab something to eat. I try to be back for the end of Asian Gap Time box, right? Which is between 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. I try to be there right when that box starts printing. An hour before, hanging out. I'll put some junk on TV just to have something background noise. I don't really pay attention to it, but just something on. You know, you feel lonely in the office. It almost maybe gives me company. So sometimes I'll get my daughter's dog, let him hang out with me. Or her. Anyway, that kind of stuff. Just something to keep you company, keep you in there. And it's not meant to be fun, it's work. It can be fun, but it's work. It's your job. When you go to work, you have fun, you talk to other employees, you bust chops a little bit with each other, but you're there doing the job. And you spend less time BSing around and more time creating work. But when you get in the office, you don't create any work. When you're doing it for yourself, you don't create any work, you're directionless. And that's one of the problems. You got to overcome this. Okay, once all that's done and you end up, right, you're in here in London, waiting for London to go off, make yourself totally available to execute trades when they show themselves. Don't be in the office but playing on your phone and looking at Instagram posts and you're missing shit. The idea is to look for a maximum of 3 solid opportunities a session. Right? Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. End it. If you walk out of that break even, end it. 3. The money is made on the execution and the management of the trade, no other way. That's how the money's made. You get a tight execution. How many times have you gotten a good execution, you thought was a really good execution, they tap you out by a pip or 2? And you go, damn, I increased my stop. No, you didn't make a good entry, man. If you're doing book flips and you're trading micro boxes, you should be able to get a damn good entry. It's quality over quantity with proper risk management and money management. Okay, risk management and money management are 2 different things. The risk is the distance to stop based on lots. Money management is escalating your lot size as you progress along the trades or decreasing your lot sizes as the trades go against you. You're risking a certain percentage. If you're a 2% risk, then every trade needs to stay 2%. When you have 120,000 in the account, the risk at 2% is different, and the lot size is different than it was when you had 100,000 in the account. Okay, hang around. If nothing presents itself, end it by 7, 8 in the morning Eastern time. Or if you got a couple trades and you want to come back for US, then once you get some trades on, step out of there for a little while, take a break, and then show up at 9:30, 9 o'clock when the US session gets going. Maybe you'll catch the New York reversal. Maybe you'll get a good opening drive trade. They'll run the stops in both directions and continue with the trend that you saw developing from London. That kind of stuff. But what happens is you get a fresh set of circumstances, right? You have your opening box here, and your opening box here. You're coming out of London, you get a nice setup, blah, 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 goes down, comes back in the box. They do opening drive, run the stops, and then they continue. And you had an anchor here, and you're looking for maybe a flip to the high side, and that would give you a continuation back into the range. Maybe they'll end the day, they won't give you as much. Right? And maybe 11, 12 o'clock if you're just trading US session. And if you don't get nothing in an hour or two, then you just tap out. Especially if you sat through London. Most common mistake made by traders, the mentality that you have to get something every single day, this causes you to misread the charts and see something that's just really not there, and you jam a trade on, or force a trade on. Students do this to get a trade on, and it's almost always ends in a loss. Conditions are not favorable, stand down and come back next session. This is the biggest one, that you have to get something today. You don't have to get shit. You don't have to get something every day. You just have to be there, present, and take the best setups. All right? And again, if conditions are not favorable, stand down and come back for US session. If you can't do that, then you come back the next day, man. Then you're a 5-day-a-week trader. You need to trade every day if you only have one session. If you're trading available for 2 sessions every day, then you pick the 4 favorite sessions that you like. And if you have a big win after a big move, then what you end up doing is you can skip the next session because you're going to get a consolidation thing. You understand? Does that make sense? All right. Think about this for a minute. How are you going to send me something? What are you going to show me? What are you going to map out? How are you going to structure your day? That's what I need you to do. I need you to think about how you can structure your day. Okay? It doesn't have to be like mine. It has to be some way. If you're trading Asia, are you going to get home from work, take a nap, take a shower, have dinner with your family, then show up at 8:30? Right? Remember, there's a gap time between the close and when Asia starts going. And you want to be, right, maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock in front of your machine, looking for Asia to go off, and then looking for opportunity. And you trade the appropriate crosses, Australian JPY cross, USD JPY, any JPY cross that has a market that's open. New Zealand type stuff, New Zealand JPY, that kind of stuff. All right. Here's the thing, man, is consistency. Do you go to your work at 8 one day, 9 the next, 10, show up at lunch? No, you don't do that shit. You need to show up the same time every single day to trade. Some days you might find that the move has already happened. That's okay. Check the lagging correlated instruments like I told you about for a possible opportunity, or just end it. Come back to US session. The market is designed to move at different times, but if you bounce your times around, you're going to fall on a stretch where you might get nothing for days on end. Because you come in at 4 o'clock, if I came in at 5, I would have caught that. If I came in at 2, I would have caught that. Then you start bouncing around trying to figure out the best time to come in, and you miss everything. You need to report for work at the same time every day, just like you do at your job. The idea behind all of this is to find the best opportunity. So if it makes sense to show up at the session open for whatever session you're trading, right? Just said that. Show up, if you want to trade Asia, show up to session open. You want to trade London, show up to shadow box right before they open. US, shadow box right before they open. And follow it into, get a feel for it, get a chance to unwind. And start getting a feel for what the market's doing and get in touch with it. Okay. You have to have a day plan. Okay, that's what I just gave you. Now you need a trade plan. Right? You need to have a way your day is structured, right? Just like you clock in at the office, clock in, I was joking around, they make time clocks now that you can hang on your wall at your house, and they're like $50. Maybe if you're used to that type of mentality, and it would help you form a habit because you can track how many hours you spent in the office, maybe you should get a time clock for yourself. Excuse me. Now, the next thing I want you to do is create a trade plan. All right? But I want you to base your trade plan on your test results that you should have taken. Pick a style that feels right for you. We're not all the same, man. I'm a high-strung type of guy. Believe it or not, I quit caffeine. I'm still losing my mind all the time. My wife goes, "Damn, I thought when you got off caffeine, you'd be doing better." I'm just high-strung, man. I don't know what it is, but I drive my wife crazy, I'm sure. Pick a style, and it has to feel right to you. It's got to resonate with you inside. If you like trading Gartley's on the 4-hour, man, then that's what you need to do. You need to find a way to make that work. No one else can tell how you feel inside, so make your own decision. Don't let nobody talk you into. Even me, when I'm like, "Oh, I love these zone flips." Okay, yeah, people love them, but guess what? You can use that on a 4-hour chart. You don't think the 4-hour charts flip and come back to a level? Of course they do. Because the 5, 15, and 30 make up the 4-hour over time. All of it's together. If price is repeated, right, price is repeated, it might start here and come back 3, 4 hours later, but it also does it here and goes down and retest the level. It's all the same shit, man. It's just a chart is a chart is a chart. You can trade these levels. You can come back at every 4 hours. That's kind of nice. Take a look at the chart and get on with your life. It's your decision. Don't let nobody talk you into nothing. Use the tests and figure out what works for you. But I do want you to use a top-down approach. Higher time frames, check down into lower. That's common practice that we do. Form a directional bias. If you don't have the discipline, put a sticky with an arrow in directional. I used to do this a long time ago. I'd put GBP on here, whatever, GU. Say I'm trading to the downside. Right? Then look for supporting ideas of confluence. What would that be? What's in the picture? Blue traces. What is the moving average going to do? What type of setup am I looking for? AR numbers, right? I'm going to lean on an Asian range with a daily open. I've been talking about this for weeks, man. Right? Level counts, impulse counts. Are you taking the CD leg after the reversal, right? AB, then the pullback CD after the flip into the apex nadir? Before the pullback starts, imagine in your mind where the moving averages might be. Project them out. Take the averages and project them out and say, okay, price crossed here. Man, I think it's going to hit the zone right between this 50 and this 200, and it's going to do 3 impulses up there. Right? Did it break the level and form a V pattern? Did it break the level and form an A pattern? Was the level taken out in favor of your trade? Did they clear the book below or clear the book to the upside, right? It would look like that. They cleared the book to the upside. That's the kind of stuff that's going to make you a really good trader. It's noticing the little nuances. Right? Candlestick patterns. Did it form a rejection in the box? Did you get railroad tracks? Did you get some kind of spinning hammer? Did you get consolidation? Above or below the catch-up. Maybe that's going to help you. Then execute. Turn it over to a trade manager and get away. Get away from your desk. Don't sit at it and stare at it. Get up right now. Stand up and just watch the trade develop and don't touch it. Keep your hands on it. That make sense? The trade manager has to be some type of EA. The goal is to get a scratch or better, prevent loss, and max out the gain. Does that make sense? All right. Short session tonight. Send me your work. Get me going. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Have a great night. I will see you next week.